From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big midday at Los Angeles, direct from Santa Monica, live at the coast with great updates about your fourth stimulus check of 2021. Incredible great news as that $3.5 trillion recon passed 2 weeks ago, and now we have confirmation today that nothing is going to get changed. The entire recon confirmed once again by Bernie Sanders, Liz Warren, AOC, Jalapal, and Sheila Jackson. That entire recon that passed 2 weeks ago will be done, says the progressives. They're not taking out any of the loafs, and they're not doing a half a loaf. I'll explain the incredible great details in this recording. The first cluster of checks staying in there, including hazard pay and money for seniors. The second cluster of checks passed and staying in there, including the monies for paid leave. The checks in the third cluster passed and staying in there, which include money for seniors and workers. This is huge. And then meantime, Democratic leaders tell viewers of this channel this week, last week, and over the last 3 weeks, no less than 1,000 viewers, that they're putting those IRS monthly stimulus checks in there as well. Breaking news as Kristen Sinema is under fire as now a super PAC has been launched in the state of Arizona to get her out of office. Her popularity is plummeting by the day, and now the Democratic Party of Arizona is vowing to revoke any support for her in the next primary run for the Senate. Big trouble for Sinema as she's now feeling the pressure. And guess what? The viewers of this channel now stepping forward and being part of the equation to get that recon over the finish line. As one viewer says, I'm from Arizona, and I have 400 viewers, and we're ready to get Sinema pushed back and get this recon finished. It's a huge day with the recon passed and happening. It's happening at noon time with the breaking news you're hearing for the first time today, and it starts right now. Hey, good noontime, everybody. I hope you're having a great day across the land. It's beautiful here along the coast. We had a big weather event last night. Massive hurricane, massive lightning, and torrential rain. It was absolutely incredible. But it's beautiful today along the coast. Hope you're great as well. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning from and how the weather is. In this first check of updated 2021 today, so much wonderful news. As that $3.5 trillion recon passed 2 weeks ago, and guess what? Confirmation at noontime that everything in there is staying in there and nothing is coming out. Cluster number one's checks, second checks, and third clusters all staying in there. I'll explain all these incredible clusters of checks. They're staying in there. Meantime, those IRS stimulus checks are going in, says the Democratic progressive leaders to this channel this week, last week, and over the weeks before. These are huge checks, which would be upwards of $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000 for 6 months. Then we turn to the big exciting details as the Democratic leadership and the progressives say nothing is getting changed for that recon. Everything is staying in there. Meantime, big trouble for Kristen Sinema as a super PAC is launched to take her down. Yes, a super PAC of Democrats. And the Arizona Democrat caucus saying they will not support her in her reelection bid. If she continues the path she's going on, her career may be over quicker than you can say lunchtime. And with that, also the incredible details is that this channel and its viewers, including from Arizona, are now part of the equation to push back against the moderate Democrats who say they represent the voices of America. They don't. As viewers who are Republican and Democrat, red and blue states viewing this channel are now part of getting this recon pass. It's breaking and it's at noon time, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I'm so glad you joined me today because we got a lot of breaking news. And I was a little bit late coming on camera because I was reading some of the Sinema breaking news minutes ago. Wow. It's overwhelming. Hit that like and subscribe button and consider becoming a member. Let's go over what we're going to cover. We're going to cover the checks. Cluster number 1, 2, and 3 passed. Huge details. Then this comments from Bernie and Liz today and last night that everything that's in the recon that's passed is staying passed. It's not going to be unpassed. And that recon procedural passed in the month of August, 3.5 trillion. It is not going to be unvoted upon. It is already law. Huge development at noontime. Meantime, big problems with Kristen Sinema's career because it may be coming to a screeching end as the Democrat caucus in Arizona is coming after her. It's huge, and it starts right now. It's great because 2 weeks ago I told you that a $3.5 trillion recon passed a House Budget Committee on a Saturday night. But you may have wondered, are those items in there staying in there? They are. Let's go over cluster number one's checks. Passed and still staying in there. The progressives tell us today. The first cluster, hazard pay. Checks for seniors. Checks for $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks for children, checks for home repairs, bikes, cars, and more. Let's go over all the incredible details. First, hazard pay checks got in there. This is a modification to the Earned Income Tax Code, an old tax code, broaden the eligibility for essential workers so you qualify for this hazard pay every year with more money. Then, up to $4,000 a year to care for an elderly person. Huge. Up to $4,000 a year to care for a young child. Then they got in there monthly stimulus checks and money also for college students. The college students are getting grants directly from the university or from the government, and also the Pell Grant made tax-free. They got in there checks to repair the home. Huge. If you live in a low-income household, there'll be tax incentive, there'll be free benefits, free checks that'll come to you to make repairs to that home. Then MSC's got in there, the CTC. They're going to do up to $51,000. This is huge. If you are a CTC recipient, a child tax credit, you're going to be excited. They're going to broaden the CTC, to include it now for non-biological parents, and then extended the eligibility for more years. How much is this? Every month, approximately $300 a month at least on the high end. Every year, up to 18 years, which is $51,000 a child. Wow. Then they got in there money for cars, trucks, and electric bikes. All electric and all U.S. auto manufacturer. First, up to 15% of the purchase price of a new electric bike. Then, up to $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Personal use, a little bit more for business use, and a little bit more for a truck. Wow. In a second, we'll go over the second cluster checks in there, pass and staying in there. The third cluster, pass and staying in there. And those IRS stimulus checks going in there. So says the Democrat caucus to this channel. Wow. But first, let's take a detour over the third stimulus for just a blink of an eye. Third stimulus is getting additional cash infusion for rent and mortgage and utilities from Treasury, $13 billion. It's huge. If you remember this channel, you get it in the newsletter. Treasury is happy to provide the state and local governments with these additional programs to help Americans in time of assistance. Big details. I'll go over that later in this video. Stay to the final 15. We got a lot in this video. Stay to the very end. But first, let's go to the second cluster of checks. Passed 2 weeks ago and staying in there, says the Democrats in the last few hours. First, they got paid family leave and paid medical leave in there. How much is this? This is a lot. This is $1,700 a week. Yes, a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. $800 a week if you make $35,000 a year. $400 a week if you make $15,000 a year. It's important to remember that this fourth stimulus recon, it's just checks for life in general, not COVID related, all across the country. It's federal stimulus, every red, blue, purple state, and it's for you. What's family leave? You have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. What's medical leave? You have to stay home because your son broke his leg. There's no less than 12 other incredible checks in this second cluster, like build up of the child care programs, extension of household tax credits, and then more money for the home. Now, weatherizing the home. Wow, definitely need it to weatherize the home, especially if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. As I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of the House and keep them out of the Senate. There you go. Then they got other checks in there. They got checks for pre-kindergarten. Then they got checks for tuition-free community college. Definitely needed for the viewer who says, I don't understand what you're saying. Then go take that class called What the World's LATE Saying 101. If you want to become advanced, you could take the LA 202 class. It's called Foreign Language. The new foreign language. It's sweeping the country. It's called Los Angeles. There you go. In a second, we'll be turning to the third cluster checks, what the president wants in there, and then those IRS stimulus checks coming up in just a second. We got a lot at noontime. But first, the exciting details of what is Congress doing? Well, what is Congress doing? The incredible details is that the president has now seen a sense of urgency to get this recon done by saying to the Democrats, on the House and Senate, there will be no vote on the roads and bridges anytime soon until you agree upon the recon. The president's made emphatically clear that the roads and bridges is never going to pass because the progressives will block the roads and bridges until the moderate Democrats support the recon. This is a biggie. The president assures the progressives and the moderates that he's the one that stopped the vote on the roads and bridges on Thursday, stopped it on Friday in the morning, and then stopped it on Friday the afternoon, saying it will never happen until you support the recon. And guess what? The big breaking news at noontime is that the progressives have yet again today, Bernie and Liz said, the recon, we passed the recon. Procedural in August. We're not revoting it. We already passed it. And the recon, everything that's in there is staying in there. We ain't taking anything out. Oh boy, this is huge. But I'm going to show you how they could still compromise, but without taking out anything from your pocketbook. It's coming up in just a second. But now let's turn to the third cluster checks, and these are the president's checks, and they are deliciousness. Huge checks across the board. They got checks for college, for free school meals for all checks, then checks for cheaper prescription medication, checks for farmers, checks for free internet, checks for clean energy, checks for workers like independent contractors, and checks for dental, vision, hearing, and lowering eligibility age. Wow. Two of the checks in this, the president particularly likes because they're instant savings to you. I like it as well. Meaning as soon as the bill becomes law, you would instantly see the savings in your wallet. Number one, cheaper prescription medication. You'd overnight see a savings of money in your wallet. How would this work? Let's say you go to the pharmacist today. Say, hey, Mr. Pharmacist, I have a horrible headache. Oh, what's wrong, LALATE? You've been listening to the moderate Democrats? Yes, how'd you know? Do you have any for that, Mr. Pharmacist? I do. Seats for stimulus. Vote them out. Yeah, thank you. A midterm election. I got it. I want a prescription. Oh, okay. Take this. It costs $40. You take two $20 bills out of your wallet. Then, after you go back to refill the prescription a month later, after this becomes law, and unfortunately the moderate Democrats are still around, then you have to take only one $20 bill out of your wallet. Instantly, a savings of a $20 bill in your wallet. Then they're going to have free internet. They're going to offer fortunes to cities, counties, and states. They can offer free internet to you. This is great. All you have to say is, hi, I live here. Oh, really? You want the username and password? I do. What's the username? The username is Cinema No More. And the password is DC Reese 101. There you go. Well, coming up later in this video, we'll go over why Bernie, Liz Warren, AOC, Jayalapal, and Sheila Jackson, the number 2 in the progressives under Jayalapal, said that everything in that recon is passed. It's not going to be unpassed. Wow, this is a big one. Because remember, the moment that passed on that House floor, I delivered you the recording. Since then, broadcast media has never even mentioned the recon passing on the House floor. They've never even educated the American people on it. No one has gone through any of the programs that are in the recon that pass. Print media hasn't even covered it. YouTube channels don't even know it happened. That is huge because everything that's passed, that's covered in these clusters, is staying in there. It's confirmed. It's going to the finish line. Wow, this is big at noontime. Then we'll be cutting more to those to the third stimulus, but now let's turn to those IRS stimulus checks. The big details on those IRS stimulus checks at noontime is that more Democratic offices, after viewers have advocated to them, have confirmed this week those IRS stimulus checks are going in. Now, this is big because when Sheila Jackson, the progressives, passed that recon on that House floor that Saturday night, that was not a bill. It was a package. And as Pelosi said that night in the president, you want to add stuff in there? Go ahead and add it in there. Ironically, the day before Pelosi said that, her staff told Mark, one of the viewers of this channel, she'll be adding in a monthly stimulus check provision. No less than 1,000 viewers of this channel have been told over the last 3 weeks that those senators and House staffers, after hearing your advocacy, your impassioned advocacy for inclusion stimulus, said that they will be adding it in there. This is huge. We'll go over more about this, details of what's unfolding. We'll be going over why you are important to the equation. We'll go over why there's new trouble for Kristen Sinema and being reelected back in her home state of Arizona. We'll talk about a little bit what one Arizona viewer said on this channel, and we'll be going over more about those IRS stimulus checks and what's happening new at noontime. A lot of details, and it's brand new at noontime. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now at noontime with incredible great news about your recon, as everything that's passed is going over the finish line. So confirms the progressives at noontime. This is great, massive, huge, wonderful news. I'll go over all the incredible details at noontime and also wish Joanne a beautiful birthday today. Congratulations and happy big 3-0. Meantime, we're going to go over all the dramatics about that IRS monthly stimulus check and how it's getting in there. It's all incredible. We'll go over why Kristen Sinema's political career is now in jeopardy, as no less than 2 major developing details coming up against her at noontime. Then we go over more about that third stimulus and what financial independence means for you. I'm going to show you how to get big sums of money right now. You should be very excited because there's a lot of money, massive amount of money. I'm going to show you how to get in this recording. It's a great day. And then that and more, plus the exciting details of how you're part of the equation. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. We're getting big sums of money on this channel by the hour and every day. I'm going to show you how you get this big sums of money today, starting right now. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Coming up next is Afternoons LA at 1, 3, Evenings LA at 5, and our new hit show, Evenings Countdown. It's an encore show, and people loved it. I tested it out last night, and it's coming back. Meantime, let's go to the big surprising details that unfolded today and also on Sunday. Over the weekend, we learned from one viewer of this channel, longtime viewer, that in her discussions with Bernie Sanders' office last week, a top aide to Senator Bernie Sanders in D.C. confirmed that this channel, these recordings, and you are part of the equation to get that recon over the finish line. This is historic, and you are part of the history. What's going on? Bernie Sanders' top aide confirmed to the viewer of this channel that Sanders' office is keeping records, logs of all your phone calls, all your messages, emails, and conversations with staffers advocating for the inclusion of a stimulus check, to use it to show any detractors, any moderate Democrats, or any people during the negotiations who say maybe that they are representing their interests of their citizens by not getting recon done, by saying, no, your citizens are saying they want the recon done. This is huge. Sanders' office has been specifically been impressed, reportedly, according to this top aide, by your use of advocacy, by your ability to express why your situation is so different, and by the breadth of diversity of the viewers of this channel. The people picking up the phone and calling on behalf of this channel represent this channel, which is not partisan, but a news channel. People calling are in Republican red states, in blue states, who are Republicans and also Democrats. Very different people with different situations, but all saying professionally and respectfully why they need stimulus. And that's important. In a universe in which currently Sanders and Warren and Schumer currently see that the broadcast media is not covering the RECON much at all. I am, however, this channel is. When that RECON passed, that $3.5 trillion 2 Saturdays ago, broadcast media never covered it. In the weeks that have passed since then, they still have barely even covered it ever passed, let alone the checks. And what did they say today? They said that all those checks are staying in there. But if broadcast media doesn't cover what those checks are, Americans don't know the story. They don't know that it's something good for them. That's why this channel is becoming a historic part of getting that RECON over the finish line. Because here, you're hearing all the 3 clusters, all the dozens of checks that are in there, and you're picking up the phone and saying, I need it. My family needs it. It was fascinating because it was 2 days ago I told you of a Ben Tolchin quote. He's a Democrat pollster and has been used by Sanders, of course, before, that said Obama would have done this situation differently. Obama would have done this differently than Biden. Obama would have gone to the state of Arizona and say, hi, residents of Arizona, do you want this RECON? Oh, you do? Well, tell your Senator Kristen Sinema to do it. I've been doing that all along. Ironically, over the week, yesterday, I got a wonderful, kind message from a viewer who's in Arizona. I said, if you're in Arizona, when you pick up the phone, you call Bernie or Liz or Chuck. Say, hi, I'm an LALATE viewer, I'm in Arizona. Or if you're in West Virginia, say, hi, I'm in West Virginia. Because they will log it and say, listen, Sinema, you think you represent Arizona? I have 200 phone calls from Arizona people. They say they want it. What are you doing for these residents? This is what your residents, they're calling up and saying they want it. Well, yesterday I had a wonderful, nice message from an Arizona viewer, social media. And she said, I want this RECON. And I have 400 plus people in Arizona who are very vehement in favor of it. We're all going to make the phone call. And we're all going to say, we're from Arizona. We want this money. This is big. This is in face of what's going on now with Sinema today. At noontime, I can report that Sinema is really under pressure. Number one, Sinema was elected to the Senate several times. She's been reelected several times. But after her first election, her first run for the Senate, her prior reelections, she had no person running against her. She was the only Democratic candidate. So she smoothly, there was no primary. She just eased right into the challenger each time and won. In her current position, she's now seeking big trouble. Number one, in the last 24 hours, one of the Democratic Party in Arizona has come out and said, Sinema, if you do this thing with the filibuster, and if you keep on going down this path with the RECON, we will not support you in your next bid for the Senate. We will not support you in your next Democratic primary. That's huge. So would Sinema now face a Democratic challenger for the first time in several election cycles? Yes. This is new at noontime as well. There is a new PAC that's been called the Sinema PAC. You would think it sounds like it's money to raise for her. No, it's money to be raised to fund a Democratic challenger to Sinema so she doesn't even win the Democratic primary for Senate. And on top of that, a new series of polls that came out that says Sinema's popularity in Arizona is plummeting overnight in the last 2 months. These videos of this channel are working. Your advocacy against what Sinema is doing is working. And now it's actually doing exactly what Ben Tolchin said. This is what Obama would have done. This is exactly what Obama had done. And this is great news. Now let's turn to that IRS stimulus check with incredible details of why your advocacy has really been working. It was 8 weeks ago where I said, pick up the phone and call and advocate. I said, they need to hear from you. And WR did. He called Senator Chris Coons, advocate for the inclusion of that monthly stimulus check. And Chris Coons' office said, yes, I'm doing it. Thank you for your advocacy. Then about 3 weeks ago, you saw this channel change. It sort of changed overnight. A lot of exclusives, a lot of breaking news. Like you see how this recording is totally different than the morning show just 2 hours ago of new stuff about Sinema. Well, at that time, I told you the House would be riding the recon in a subcommittee. They did. Sheila Jackson, who I'm going to go over what she said about this recon. This is critical coming up later in this video. They wrote it. Then I told you they would vote for it on first in the subcommittee first. They did. I told you that the passage of that recon procedural in the Senate by Bernie was critical. It is. Bernie Sanders talked about just today. He said, I've done this. I'm not going to do it again. Yeah. And I told you finally Bernie's important to the equation. Well, let's go over what Bernie said 3 weeks ago. He said, as the budget chairman on the Senate side, I like to get amongst the people when I'm doing a recon. I said, this is critical because he wants to hear from you. Pick up the phone and advocate. And Brother Joshua heard me. He advocated. Margaret did and Lynn Glenn did. And they were all told a monthly stimulus check is going in there. Now, what is advocacy? If you're new to this channel and you never heard of advocacy, let me show you what advocacy is. Advocacy involves telling your unique story of why you need stimulus, why you need particular items. It involves a sentence that has a period at the end. I need stimulus because I need this because of what happened to my family. What's going on with my church, my family, my community, my church, my neighborhood, my town, my business. It may be something about your financial situation. It may be something about your medical situation. Now, I want you never to post anywhere on social media or on this channel anything about your financial situation or your medical situation. I want you to say, I advocated or I told my situation. And that is how it works. One viewer, Margaret, said, I picked up the phone and I advocated so vigorously. The staffer in the Senate office broke down tears for me. Another viewer said, I've had to endure 10 surgeries and I'm raising 2 teenage daughters on just SSI and STI. That's not enough. Notice that sentence is so emphatic, it's so impassioned, ends with a period. That's advocacy. What's not advocacy? What's not advocacy is something that ends with a question mark. A question, a sentence that's only a question. Am I getting a stimulus check? Is it $10? Is it $12? When? Those are just questions that will prompt and no answer because you're not advocating. But Brother Joshua, Margaret, and Lynn Glenn advocated. Brother Joshua advocated for himself, for you, and his community, and his church. He's a 2020 volunteer to the community page. Help viewers get big sums of money for rent and utilities during the pandemic. And Sanders' office said, yes, it's going in there. $1,000 to $1,300, 4 to 6 months. That monthly stimulus check is going in there. But he needs to hear your support. At the time, we thought that means he only needs to hear your support. But it meant that he needs to hear it so he can show it to other people. At the time, I also said, flood all the offices, call as many places you can call, and advocate because they will talk about you. And that's what that aide told the viewer of this channel, that Sanders' office is so impressed by your advocacy and that all the other offices like Liz Warren are hearing these phone calls and saying, are you getting those phone calls? Yeah, we're getting those LA phone calls. LALATE, what state you're from, and why you need it. And then the floodgates opened after Brother Joshua's advocacy. Viewers are like Donnie. You met his wife early in this video. Donnie's wife picking up the phone and calling Chuck Schumer's office last week, and Schumer's office saying that monthly IRS stimulus check is going in there. Well, let's see what Donnie said right after Brother Joshua. This is what Donnie wrote on the channel. I called Bernie Sanders' office, and they said they're doing a forced stimulus check. I said, this is what I need. My city needs it. I need it to progress. I need it for everything. And she said, okay, they're doing a forced stimulus check. Hurricane Tina picking up the phone and advocating, and Sanders' office saying they're doing a forced stimulus check. Carolyn writing, I called Bernie Sanders. I said people are losing their home and everything they got, and they agree they're doing a forced stimulus check. And Yaya picking up the phone and calling Ronald Wyden's office, advocating for that stimulus check, and they saying, yes, it's going in there. That's the face of advocacy. But quickly we learned that we need to make as many calls as possible, not just one call. And we learned that from Will, who wrote, I said my situation, which translates as he advocated. Will writes the following message that he called Bernie, Chuck, and Liz. And all 3 of their secretaries confirmed a forced stimulus check is coming. That I told them my situation and it would make a huge impact on my life. And then Liz Warren's office said she's doing $1,600 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. Lorica picked up the phone and called Bob Casey's office as well and advocated. And there it came the same message that they're currently negotiating, writes Lorica. It's with that we learned that no less than 1,000 viewers of this channel have been told by the senators it's going in there, that IRS monthly stimulus check. Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden, telling 1,000 viewers of this channel they will be doing that monthly IRS stimulus check. The comments kept on coming on in, but I said reach out to the House members and make that phone call. And viewers started to do it as well. Those phone calls confirmed that it will be monthly checks, $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. And who said that? Mark heard it from Pelosi's office themselves. Mark writes, I called Pelosi's office. They told me there'll be a fourth stimulus check of $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, and that they're currently negotiating the amount. And then we saw it from Janice. I called every congressman. They said they're doing a fourth stimulus check and that check is in there. By that point, AOC Jalapal, Omar's office, confirming to viewer after viewer that monthly stimulus check is going in there. And that is what advocacy does. Picking up the phone and saying, I need it. But the advocacy was far from over. And here's where the good news gets even better. 1,000 viewers told that IRS stimulus check is going in there after they advocated for it before the Saturday when that recon passed. Pelosi then having that statement as soon as the recon passed that Saturday night, that it's a package, it's not a bill, that if you want to add stuff in there, you still can. And then saying that last week as well. Well, the great news is that last week, Chuck Schumer's office telling Donnie's wife that they will be putting a monthly stimulus checks in there. Bernie Sanders' office saying it 3 times to 3 different viewers. Omar, AOC, and Jalapal, and more viewers this week getting that same confirmation as well. I'm impressed by Janice. On Morning's Countdown today, she called no less than 3 different offices today as well. That's what advocacy gets you. And with that, now let's go into what that advocacy is getting with you, as the president has now said, sorry, roads and bridges not going for a vote. I'm not calling the vote on the roads and bridges anytime soon. And the recon has to be agreed upon. And guess what? AOC, Jalapal, Omar, Warren, and also Sanders says, the recon passed, we're not changing it. Wow, this is huge, and this is great news today at noontime. Let me explain what goes on here. Back in August, I told you that Bernie Sanders went into negotiations for your recon, asking for $7 trillion. He got $3.5 trillion. And all the Democrats, including Kristen Sinema, agreed to the $3.5 trillion. Then they went to vote on it. They passed it. Recon procedural. Remember the graphic on this channel? They voted on the recon procedural. Done. Now they have to just do the recon substance, which is agreeing upon how to spend the $3.5 trillion. Guess what Liz Warren and Bernie Sanders said today and said yesterday? They said, we already did this. We're not going to do it again, ever. Love it. Love it. They said we already passed the recon procedural. We're not re-voting something we already voted on. We already did this. Who goes back and unvotes something you already voted and passed? Recon procedural's passed. It's $3.5 trillion. Huge. Really huge. Number 2, what else do they say? Liz Warren specifically said, hey, we already made a deal. The deal was $7 trillion, and we went to 3.5. You agreed. You voted. You said yes. Stop breaking your promises. In fact, you can't break your promise. It's now law. I love it. I love it. Can it get better than that? Yes. The recon substantive part. Remember, they have a past law of recon procedural that's 3.5. So the only thing that could be left is to modify how they spend the 3.5. Guess what? They're not taking out any check from the recon, and then can still add checks in there. This is big. Jalapal and AOC confirmed this statement on Sunday. Bernie, Liz Warren confirmed it today and yesterday, but it was, in fact, Sheila Jackson's comments, which are the best, clearest, most mathematical comment you can make, that I want to show you what's going on. Sheila Jackson refers to each check as a program or as a loaf of bread. For example, the $4,000 to care for the elderly person per year, or the weatherize your home. Those are each different programs. Or the 15% for the new electric bike. That's a program. She also calls it like a loaf of bread. She said every program that is in the recon that we passed, that I was there on that Saturday night, writing it and passing it in the middle of the night, and that LA covered, those programs, they're all staying in there. No program is getting removed, ever. Love it. Love it. She said they're like loaves of bread. We're not taking out any of the loaves of bread. Very clear. Well, are they going to change the loaf? No. she also said, we're not going to do a half-baked loaf either. Very Texas expression. We're not doing a half-baked loaf either. She said, we're going to do the full loaf. We're not going to do half-baked loaf. Meaning that when I say $4,000 to care for the elderly person, it's not going to be $1,000. When I say 15% for an electric bike, it's not going to be 2%. When I say $7,500 for a new electric car, yeah, it's not going to be $2,000. It's going to be $7,500. That's how it's going to work. They're not going to water down the numbers or remove the program at all. This is big. So how do they make concessions? How do they find a common ground with the moderates on something that doesn't really concern you? It's the back end, says Sheila Jackson. How they pay for the loaf, how they pay for the program by taxing corporations and taxing billionaires. They can modify how they tax those people so that the back end number looks different. It will not change any of the front end number so that the program, the loaf, will stay in there fully as a full loaf, not as a half a loaf. Wow. Very, very clear. And there you go. And that is why there's so much wonderful news at noontime. That everything that passed, only covered on this channel, is passed and will not be unpassed. That everything that was voted, that the RECON procedural that became a law in, I think it was August, or maybe September, is not going to be unlawed. I mean, it just sounds crazy even saying something like this. It's sort of obvious, but that's what they said as well. We're not going to unvote something that's already been voted on. Big, big, big developments. Now, let's go over to the big exciting details of third stimulus and then cut back over to what's coming up next for you. When we look at third stimulus, the most important message that I'm bringing back into this channel today, you've seen throughout the videos, is the expression which I taught viewers last year called financial independence. I have taught millions and millions of viewers on this channel about financial independence, but I haven't mentioned it in recent weeks, so I want to bring it back. Financial independence means getting as much money as you can from whatever program you can get money from, because I do not want you to be financially dependent on whether Chris and Sinema has coffee or tea for breakfast. I want you to be financially independent. How do you do that? By getting as much money as you can that I can show you right now from third stimulus and big money from the nonprofits. I want you to make that call, make the notes, get that pen and paper, cell phone ready. We're going to go over all the money right now. We're going to go over rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, SNAP, appliances, shelter, clothing, food. We're going to go over all these sums of money right now. First, we're going to go over the rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance with third stimulus. I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. You reach out to all 6. They have different pots of money. They have different eligibility. Then we're going to go over other sums of money right after that. All right, here are the 6 places you reach out to. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, and State House Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage utility assistance because of COVID. There you go. Very simple. If you're a member to this channel, then open the newsletter every night and go to the part where it says the IRS, the Treasury payment of $13 billion. I want you to read that so you know what it is. When you call up and say, I want this money, if they say they're out of the money, then you know immediately to say, have you gotten this money? Because remember, they all will be getting the money. Red, blue, rich, poor states, everyone is getting it. It won't be there forever. Get on the waiting list or get ready to pounce. Then reach out to all your utility companies, not one, all of them. One viewer had a great question yesterday. Can I get money from multiple places for the same item? Absolutely. I've had a lot of viewers like Mark and Johnny, I think Lorraine as well, who got rent from 3 different places. You can get rent from different places, absolutely. So get money as often as you can in as many places as you can. All right, then we cut to the money for the nonprofits. The nonprofits they're just godsend. I mean, they're absolutely incredible. They first cover the same items under third stimulus, but with different eligibility. So if you're a person who thinks, I really do have an eligibility problem, I've done the 6 places from the local government, I'm just not getting approved, then do the nonprofits. Here are the 5 nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. I know them because I've done God, I don't know, 1,000 videos on them since fall of 2020. Community volunteers have been helping viewers with these nonprofits for over a year now. So we've done this before. We know how to do it. Now, the great thing about the nonprofits is that they also pay for some items that the third stimulus does not cover. I had a very kind viewer send me a message just before I went on air, sending me a message from his car. He's homeless, and I said, use the nonprofits. Please reach out to the nonprofits. They help for homeless people in the shelters. They help with clothing. They help with food. They all do it quite differently. They do sometimes appliances for the home repairs. 2 viewers have gotten refrigerators. 1 viewer got a new furnace. Another viewer got a window fix. So they do other items that the federal government doesn't do. And here again are the 5 nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Next, Snap. I want you to get Snap. If you haven't gotten Snap, please do. I've gotten thousands and thousands of viewers on this channel with Snap. But if you have not gotten, please get it. You get it from Department of Agriculture. And what is Snap? It's free food. And how much money is it going up to? It's going up an average of 25% lifetime automatically this month. I'm just so excited for you. I can't imagine where Snap has gone from this channel. Yeah, I mean, it was just, last year we're talking about $20 a month, and now viewers are getting $26,000 a month because of this channel, like Mark's brother-in-law. It's just huge. People are getting, per year. Viewers are getting now $500 a month for Snap. They're getting massive sums of money. So get it. Everyone's benefits are going up an average of 25%. Next, those refund checks. The unemployment refund check, yes, from your state due to overpayment of computer error, yeah. Average payment is about $3,000 to $5,000. Reach out to your state for that. And then the refund check from IRS for you paid taxes on the 2020 unemployment benefits, yeah, that's coming back. Average payment is about $1,200 to $2,000. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. If you got any sums of money off of this channel, like Linga and Gail got money for Snap, post your success story in the live chat right now. Finally, if you've not become a member, what are you doing? You need to become a member. The members get a newsletter written by me, delivered to them every night, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, approximately, detailing all the big money under first, second, and third stimulus. It's sent out by the YouTube alert system by me and the LALATE alert system. It's important to understand that this is what financial independence is important for. This financial independence is important for you because there is money for you to get. Mark, $51,000. Johnny, $80,000. Lorraine, $110,000. Financial independence, getting as much money as you can from as many sources right now. All right, now let's cut over to the developing details of what's happening today and what is happening later today as well. As we go into the afternoons, the big news is that the Progressive Caucus says the following. 1, we already passed the RECON. We are not re-voting on the RECON. Number 2, that everything in the RECON that's passed in that House Budget Committee, which is the RECON substantive, is not getting removed. That we're not taking out any program or loaf, and we're not removing or reducing the program or watering down the program or doing a half-baked loaf. This is huge. So all these clusters covered in this channel, they say they're putting in there. Make 3 promises to yourself this week. Make the phone call to advocate for the inclusion of stimulus. Say you're an ally viewer. Say what state you're from. Very important. Call as many offices as you can. Janice did a great job this morning. She called 3 different offices. Then get this big money under third stimulus as far as you can into 2022. This is big money. I want you to get financial independence. Get those bills paid for. Number 3, lean on the nonprofits to the extent you qualify. Reach out to all those nonprofits and get these sums of money. It's still relatively warm across most of the United States. So the nonprofits are not getting those phone calls yet for heating oil, those big, massive surge of calls in November, December. Call now. Get as many items as you can and get them paid for. And with that, coming up as a whole slate of programming today. Afternoons LA kicks up at 1 o'clock. This video will take you there. Then the new Afternoons LA show at 3 o'clock. Evenings LA at 5. And then we got the new show called Evenings Countdown, which is always now at 6 o'clock. Trying it out for a second night. Hope you enjoy it. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, so you can get that newsletter and all that incredible information to get that money. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.